For those like me, a death dealer, this signaled the end of an era.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. If you enjoy videos about supernaturals like vampires and werewolves, check out my other videos and maybe subscribe. I upload every week. This is a bit of a different video compared to what I usually do, but it's something I was thinking about lately. Will there ever be another Underworld movie? Well, when you look at these movies, they all performed relatively well in the box office. There was 5 live-action movies and 1 animated movie that was made up of 3 shorts. The first film came out in 2003 and made around $100 million off a $22 million budget. Not bad. The franchise quickly gained a cult following after this. You can see the best performing movie of the franchise was Underworld Awakening. It had a budget of $70 million and brought in $160 million worldwide, which is surprising because it's not a favorite among fans. The movies in total have brought in $543 million, over $500 million. The poorest performing out of the movies was definitely Blood Wars. It lacked direction and tried to introduce new characters that never really felt as special as the ones from other movies like Tanis, Craven, and even Erica from the first movie. The 5th movie is the only one that has a rotten rating from fans. But even after that, Wiseman still talked about a 6th movie, but nothing ever came of it. Even with Blood Wars being the least favorite among fans, it still made $81 million worldwide off a budget of $35 million, so it wasn't a complete flop. Before we get started on the video, I have a question for you guys. Have you had the same old wallet for years? Want to upgrade to something like this? Then today's sponsor, Extra, can help. They make these amazing wallets that are slim, fit in your pocket perfectly, have quick card access, and can hold up to 12 cards in cash. They offer built-in RFID protection to block anyone from stealing money off your cards. Not only are Extra wallets easier to use, but harder to lose, because they offer a solar-powered tracker so you never have to panic if you misplace it. It's the most efficient smart wallet in the world, and not only are they efficient, they look so much better than my old wallet. And I really like this blue. It's part of their aluminum collection. It's space grade 6061 T6 aluminum, or aluminium if you're from the UK. They also offer a carbon fiber option. I really appreciate Extra being a sponsor on the channel, so if you've been looking to upgrade to a smart wallet, check out extra.com and use my code Kogan for a 20% discount. Or click the link in the description and the discount will be applied automatically. Thanks again to Extra. At one point, Beckinsale seemed like she didn't want to do Underworld anymore, giving a statement along the lines of, "I've done plenty of those," talking about a certain genre. She seemed tired of the role, maybe due to the poor performance of Blood Wars and thought people were not into it anymore. But during a red carpet interview in 2021 about one of her new projects, Beckinsale said she would return for another Underworld, and how much she liked the character. She even mentioned that she always wanted to do an Underworld Blade mashup. Blade and Selene together would be pretty cool. Both vampires that wear leather and like automatic weapons, what I call Matrix-inspired vampires. It's really awesome to see she still likes Underworld, and is open to do another despite the ups and downs. Maybe she just needed some time away from the series. I mentioned this in a video before, but Kate Beckinsale used to be in a relationship with Michael Sheen, the actor that plays Lucian, and they even have a daughter together. They split up just before the first Underworld movie released, and they were never in an Underworld movie together again, although they have said they are still good friends. After splitting from Sheen, Beckinsale went on to marry Len Wiseman, one of the creators and directors of Underworld. They eventually separated in 2015 and were finally divorced in 2019. Blood Wars came out in 2016, which means they probably separated while working on Blood Wars or just after. Which could be another reason she wanted to take time away from the franchise, since her now ex-husband is one of the creators. Just so you have an idea of who Wiseman is, he is one of the 3 creators of Underworld, along with Kevin Grievous and Danny McBride. He wrote on the first 2 movies and directed them. The final 3 films were directed by other people, but still produced by Wiseman, so he's been pretty close to the project. The longest gap between movies was 4 years, and that was between Awakening and Blood Wars. And as of 2022, it's been 6 years since we got an Underworld movie. Some people think that since they have waited too long, the odds are they would do a reboot instead of a sequel. It would be risky though. There are very few reboots that ever bring justice to the original. They could possibly go the route of a TV show instead, and I don't know how I feel about an Underworld TV series. It could be done well as long as the creators, Wiseman, Danny McBride, and Kevin were involved. Grievous also writes comic books and created a lot of the great lore behind the Corvinus virus and the species. This guy is seriously smart. He graduated from Howard University studying microbiology, then went on to try to get his master's degree in genetic engineering, but he eventually left school to pursue his career in Hollywood, and I'm so glad that he did. But that's why he decided to make the Underworld virus based on more of a biological virus that can be explained by science rather than a magical or supernatural curse. If you haven't seen Underworld, or haven't seen them all, Grievous plays Reyes in the first and third movie, one of the strongest Lycans and Lucian's right-hand man. I watched this movie for a long time, not knowing this was one of the creators. He has one of the coolest voices ever.
We were ambushed. Death dealers, 3 of them.
He's also made appearances on other classic movies such as Congo, The Mask, Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes, and more. I always wondered what would have happened with the series if Michael was never killed off the way he was. Off screen. Really dumb. He appears in the first 2 movies, but didn't appear in the prequel because it was hundreds of years in the past, and he's not in the 2012 film Underworld Awakening. But his character is still presumably alive, somewhere. It's not until Blood Wars that he is 100% confirmed to be dead, but they could have brought him back in Blood Wars instead. Maybe he escaped from Marius, made his way back to Selene and Eve, but instead he's unceremoniously killed off. I really had my fingers crossed that after being kidnapped at the end of Awakening, that he was going to make an epic return in Blood Wars. I was wrong. In an interview with the creator Len Wiseman, he said he wanted to focus more on the mother-daughter relationship between Selene and Eve, and Michael's role would overshadow that. But Eve is like barely in Awakening, and is only in like 30 seconds of Blood Wars, so that makes no sense in my opinion. It's possible that the actor who plays Michael, Scott Speedman, had moved on to other projects and didn't want to return for another Underworld. But other than Wiseman saying he wanted to focus on the mother-daughter relationship, Wiseman or Scott Speedman have never given any answers to why he never returned to the series. Maybe the two had a disagreement of some kind, personal or creative. Another character that was killed off too early in my opinion was Lucian. He was one of the highlights of the first and third film, which are the best too, so why not bring him back? It could have had something to do with the Underworld love triangle, or it's possible that Michael Sheen just also moved on to other projects. Sheen of course returned for Rise of the Lycans, but that's the only Underworld movie Selene is not in. Coincidence?
I think not!
Who knows why Sheen didn't return, but I really wish they would do another Rise of the Lycans film, showing them rebuild and what happened at Castle Corvinus after they defeated the vampires, since we know a lot of stuff went down. The movie started with Selene meeting Michael and him becoming the first ever hybrid, both vampire and Lycan, but stronger than both. The second film further shows how impressive hybrids are when they defeat the Elders, the strongest immortals alive. Then we got a prequel that further explained the importance of hybrids and how the war between vampires and Lycans began, which was great. But then when Awakening came around, we had no Michael, no Elders, but at least we had Eve, right? Supposedly one of the strongest immortals alive, and that has ever existed. Selene even says this herself. She kinda proves her strength at the end of the movie by defeating an enhanced Lycan, even though she's only a child. Then Blood Wars comes around and even Eve is gone, after the entire last movie built her up to be this super strong hybrid that rips people's throats out. In the end, I love the first 3. Awakening is a good movie, maybe just not a good Underworld movie, if that makes sense. And then, Blood Wars. It had some good moments. Samira, Lena, and David are great vampires. The Eastern Coven and Nordic Coven looked really cool, so there is some redeeming qualities about the movie. Do I think they will ever make another Underworld movie? Yes. I think it's inevitable that eventually some kind of Underworld movie will come out. Whether it be a sequel or a fresh start is hard to say, but I think it will be a hard sale without Beckinsale. You need Selene. But they could find someone to play an older Eve, and she could become the new main character, since Selene is now an elder after Blood Wars. Or like I said before, we could get a TV show. I can't remember where, but I read something about Amazon being interested in an Underworld show, which is a scary thought. But I couldn't find that article again, so take that with a grain of salt. What do you guys think? Do you think we'll get another Underworld movie? And if we did, do you think Selene would be the main character? Beckinsale is definitely still capable of an action role, and she said she'd like to return. Or do you think it would be cool to see Michael Sheen return as Lucian for another Rise of the Lycans movie?
We can be slaves! Or we can be Lycans!
I hope you enjoyed this video about the possible future Underworld movie. I like to think positive, so I hope we get another movie eventually, and I hope it's good. If there's any other movies, TV shows, or games you want me to cover, please leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed, leave a like, and maybe hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for 50,000 subscribers. That's such an awesome milestone to hit. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.